model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. I am Raul, and this week I'm invading Greg's shop here. Greg, we've known each other for a long time, but locally known here as the Master Caster, but also going by Holy Grail Resins.
Yes.
Thanks for letting me come in and invade your shop and show us around, and we can see what you got going on and what a more professional results resin caster does and the equipment. And we'll take a tour of his shop. So I appreciate everybody hanging out and watching this and enjoy this.
So welcome everyone. I'll show you around the shop and the equipment.
Yeah, and we'll show you some more of the stuff. I'm going to take the camera off of the mount here, and we'll start following around and show you around his shop and what we've got going on here and all of the equipment here. So you'll see here in a minute. All right, Greg, what do we have here?
We have pressure pots that I use to resin cast parts. I particularly like this brand Presto. What's great about the Presto is the way the pot seals.
The interlocking tabs there?
Yeah, the interlocking tabs, yes. And there isn't a whole lot of gasket area to be shown, so you want to make sure that that area is clean.
I see you've modified it and sealed it up here.
Yeah, so these are typical stovetop pressure cookers. So I take it and I put something on, like a quarter or a penny or something, and I put a big blob of silicone on it. And then there's usually a thing in the middle where a weight goes that goes back and forth. So that's a 1/8 inch pipe thread. So what happens is, here's the connector for the barrel inlet, then a regulator, and then a pipe nipple, a valve, and then since it's 1/8, I think this is 1/8. Yeah, this is 1/8. Then it has to be like 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. Then the T with the gauge, then another valve. And then I buy these. These are actually for an air compressor.
Was it a silencer?
Yeah, it acts as a silencer because when air pops out of this thing, it's typically pretty loud.
Will pop your ears?
Yeah, well, it's just loud. I don't like it. It's annoying. So I don't hear very well anymore. So this is a 4-quart pot. Then this is a 6-quart pot, and it's pretty much the same thing. This is the design that I like for a sealing gasket. I've got some others that are flat and they don't hold the pressure that I put in them.
What do you have in the bottom there? Is that something to keep it flat?
Yes. You know what happens when you put 60 or 70 pounds of air in one of these things? The bottom tends to bulge out.
And some of them are already convex as it is. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, the thing is was another thing I had to learn was when I do a big flat mold with lots of parts in it, the center would not be very good. So I poured some resin in, and I put some weight on the mold, and they would come out much nicer. So this is the middle-sized pot that I have. And then I have this one that I bought from Reynolds Advanced Material.
I gotta stand back. This is a big one.
Yeah, this is a 5-gallon pot, and this thing was like $800. So yeah, it was a lot of money, but what I don't really like about it is these really flippy tabs that you got to do to put it together. Again, I have a silencer on it.
You use that a lot, or you don't have a whole lot of parts that you cast that are big enough for that?
I don't do many parts with a mold that big, but I do have this one that I've done. I've done some stuff for another guy as well. So this is a 1/16 scale.
This is a 2-part body mold?
Yeah, it's a 2-part body mold.
That's a big mold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Daytona. Look at that nose.
Yeah, so it took like 10 pounds of clay to clay up the body in order to get it going. Yeah.
You ever mess up a body mold and have to start all over again?
Yes, I have. Yes. I've had the mold box come apart on me, and when the mold box comes apart, I leave the shop and I let it cure, and then I peel it up. So then we have
Alright, what do we got?
an essential item. This is a vacuum chamber. This is what I use to de-air. I built this thing myself. I have a light in it, which is pretty cool. It's just an LED light that plugs in. And
This is to pull the bubbles out of the silicone.
Yeah, I could.
These are fun to watch because it'll foam up and it's really interesting.
You want me to boil some water?
I'm sure.
All
You
right.
want to do it on?
Sure, we could do this for real with some water. How's that?
All right. Let's pause and set up. All right, so here we go for demonstration purposes on how this vacuum chamber works. Greg's got some water in there.
Yes, here's a beaker full of water. I put this cover on that I've had cut. I reach over here and I turn it on. And then I have this handy little. So I hold this down.
I hope the camera's really getting this. Looks like it is.
Okay. So I have a typical Robin Air vacuum pump that's used for air conditioning work.
And that's this right here, right?
And that's that right there. Then it goes into this T on top. And then I have this as a sort of a remote control. So what's it doing? Hold on a minute.
It's starting to.
Okay.
See the bubbles are starting to get bigger?
Oh yeah. So it'll start boiling here in a couple seconds.
It's almost like dropping an Alka-Seltzer in there.
Yeah, pretty much. It's actually pulling the oxygen out of the water.
So if you want flat water, this is the way to do it.
Yes, it is.
So when you release your finger, it'll go flat. The bubbles will just completely stop.
Yeah, you want to see?
Yeah, let's watch that. And there are the bubbles disappearing. It's quite a demonstration. And I've seen it with the silicone where it really foams.
Oh yeah, it grows like 4 times the size.
Yeah. So this is a more professional way of removing the bubbles from the silicone so you have less pockets of air to distort your casted part.
Yes, I use this as well on resin.
To pull the bubbles out of the resin
Yeah,
when
I
it's
pull bubbles
liquid?
out of the resin before I use it as well. I can show you that.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, that's quite fun to watch, that's for sure.
I've made copies of this red stirrer, and I use this rubbery stirrer to mix the one side of the resin that I have.
Okay, to agitate it?
Yes, the one side of this resin I pour in here, but it tends to settle out quite a bit. So yeah, I made a mold of this and copied it.
So you use your resin casting to make more tools for resin casting?
I do, yes. Yes, I do. I used resin and silicone to make the vacuum chamber.
I'll move some of this stuff here.
Okay.
Got vintage reference kits lying around for some stuff. Here's the drill for mixing. It's getting ready to pour some more resin in this container here. A little sneak peek at one of the kits he offers, a Mustang notchback, based on the Revell kit.
Yeah, it was redone by Mike Schnur.
That's one, if you guys are familiar with that kit, the roof was a little too high. This is a resin body to correct that.
So I pour in these 8-ounce bottles, but you don't want to pour too much or it'll be hard to pour out of when you're actually pouring to mix for a mold. So let's go down here. I'll show you about so I'll take the water out, put this one side of the resin in.
Well, after whipping it up, let's pull out all the bubbles.
So I'll turn this on again. It might be hard to see, but it'll change color and it'll foam up. This takes a bit of work too. You have to be really patient.
So it darkens up, or?
You'll be able to see that it changes color in the bottom, and then it will start going over the top. So you have to regulate it. You got to make sure that it doesn't boil over.
Yeah, I see it's going to the top now.
Yeah, you'll see the bottom getting clearer, and it'll get all foamy looking.
There it goes.
So yeah, you have to, and then you can just regulate it with this and hold it. You can do that as well. Kind of like a video game, only not really.
Yeah. You can see in the middle there where it's the darker sections where all the bubbles are.
Yeah.
Now you can see why you got the light in there.
Yeah, I like to see what's going on when I'm doing this. I usually sit in the chair too, that's why it's over here.
Yeah.
So see, you can kind of keep it in suspension by adjusting the valve. And you put your finger over it to kind of play with it. Sometimes it takes longer than other times depending on the weather and the atmospheric pressure.
You can see it's definitely clearing the bubbles out of it. The bottom side is clear.
Yeah, so this is a really important procedure, I think. One of the people at Reynolds Advanced Material, where I get my materials, they say, "Why do you do that?" And I'm like, well, I just think it's a necessary thing to do.
Well, if you see any of your castings, there's very few bubbles in them at all.
Right.
Any particular reason why you left the lid in there?
No, not really. I just want to make sure that it's all together. I have trouble focusing, so.
You'll have to find it later when you know where it is.
Sometimes I have 3 or 4 bottles in there at the same time.
Yeah.
So it looks like that's done. So we'll just let the pressure bleed off. I put a covering over it. I tried to do it on both sides, but it didn't work very well.
Yeah.
Another experiment that's kind of awry. But I tend to handle it a lot, and sometimes resin are on my fingers, so it gets to where you can't see through it very well.
So there's some of the benefits of having the vacuum chamber.
Yeah, I think it's a really important tool. And you could make one. I made this one.
I wonder how many resin casters actually go through a step like that. I know me at my hobby level, I don't, because what I filmed before and what I've done is more entry level.
So I worked as a plumber at Arizona State University at night, and the elevator crew was going around putting new hydraulic masts in the cars, and they were throwing pieces of pipe away that were like 10 or 12 inches in diameter. So I'm going like, man, I'm taking this stuff home because this stuff's like 20, 30 bucks a foot.
It's perfect for that.
So I made this vacuum chamber using what I have. It's built really heavy because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, it's almost like a bomb-proof chamber.
Yeah, just about. So I have the leveler in there and all that kind of stuff. And I also have a thing in the back that's supposed to absorb moisture as well. I don't really know whether it works really well or not, but I put it in there anyway. So then the next piece of equipment is a, here, let's do this one. So this was a pop-up camp oven. I heat the clay in this so it's easier to work with. Otherwise, it's pretty hard to, it'll get really
So
stiff.
to soften it, to make
Yeah,
it easier
I soften
to...
it, yeah, and it also gets sticky, so it holds parts down. So this is a really important tool. I just made it. I put a light bulb in the bottom of it, and I have this. It's a Variac that I used to adjust the temperature on it, which is
Okay.
kind of scientific. So here's another one that I built. I'll move this kit. Here's another one.
Yes,
that I
Greg
built.
likes his 70 Buicks.
Yes, I like those.
Mhm.
So, and there's lots of stuff piled around there. So this was a filing cabinet that was just in this shop when we bought the place. So this holds molds. I warm the molds when I do clear resin. Clear resin is not very much fun, but there's also the 10 pounds of clay in there that.
Okay, so that's
used for
got
that.
bulbs and it's warming them.
Yeah, I used a hole saw to make all those little holes in the bottom of it, and then I put the bulbs in the bottom.
Okay.
So then this one, I did buy an adjust back here with a rheostat. Right there's a rheostat that I just bought from Home Depot so that I could turn the temperature up and down.
All right. That's quite a... And then mold release, which is all over the
Yes.
place here.
This is Man 400. I use this with the clear resin. It's supposed to give a shinier finish on your parts. So I'm working on making better clear parts. They're difficult to make because this stuff is really finicky. The biggest problem is making sure that you have measured it properly. That was one of my biggest problems. Was I buy these beakers from eBay, but they're not all that accurate.
Yeah.
So when you go to actually pour the resin in to measure, it's not always the same. So some parts would be really good and some parts would be really bad. So I kept going to Reynolds Advanced Material and asking them what the problem was, and every time I would go there, they would give me a different answer, and then I discovered a lot of it was just mostly having good equal parts when you when you pour it in the beaker.
So how many pots do you have, and how many can you be running at one time?
I could have them all filled and run at the same time. I've got quite a large air compressor that I purchased.
Yeah, you can see all these hoses on the shop here, which
Yeah,
there's PCV piping underneath.
Yeah, some people say that's not all that healthy, but I've never had it happen. I only keep like 80 psi on this because I've got it regulated on the air compressor over here.
Had a friend of mine, we actually, in his garage, we built PCV piping and ran air lines, and it worked for the most part, but after a while it got aged and some of it would blow.
Oh man, it would blow
Yeah.
apart. That's bad.
Yeah, and
You wouldn't want to
but it
keep
was
my
also
shrapnel.
easy to fix. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it would mostly would just blow a hole and it crack somewhere, and then
Oh, okay.
we just have to splice it.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah, I've had people say, "Oh man, that's really dangerous. You shouldn't do that." But it has like 140 psi rating on it, and I only keep like 80 pounds on it. And then on the pressure pot, it's usually
he learned not to leave the
65 or
pressure
70.
on when he was not in the shop. He'd turn the compressor on, use it, and then turn it back off. But he used to just leave it on, and it was one morning he heard the compressor just running and running and running, and found it blew a line.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be bad. So here's the air compressor that I have. It's an 80-gallon air compressor. I tried to build this foam thing to keep it quieter, but it's still
Well, definitely a shop compressor.
yeah, this thing's built to run 24/7. It's a Polar Air. It comes from Ohio is where they're built.
Very nice.
Twin
I don't even have
cylinder.
one of those in my garage.
Yeah, it's big. It's 220 volt twin cylinder, 5 horsepower motor. Yeah. It's
Well, I'll definitely give you all the air you need.
right.
All right, this is the maybe the office area of
Yeah,
Greg's.
this is my workspace. Of course, it's cluttered,
Yeah,
and I have
the
trouble.
typical modeler's desk doesn't have
Yes.
a square inch of free space.
Right.
So
So I have projects sitting on projects, and
we got
I
the
have trouble finding
expand a
molds.
tray here with
Yes.
molds and
So when I first
more
started
molds.
out resin casting, I was making molds, and I had like all kinds of molds. They all look pretty much the same. And I worked nights at Arizona State University as a plumber, and they have a building that used to be a hospital. And I was standing on the second floor waiting for the elevator to come up to me, and there's the lobby billboard that tells you Dr. So-and-so is in room such and such. And I started
those
looking
black felt ones, right?
Yes, So I thought, wow, this is the perfect way that I could mark my molds. So I got a set of them, and I brought them home, and now I have this index of letters that I use and numbers. I put little squares on the back side of them so that now they become part of the mold. Like here's a Vega motion scoop, so I had to abbreviate some.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that mold looks like.
Yeah, if you notice any of the molds in the videos here, you can just see they've got words and scripts on the side.
So anyway, I got on eBay, and there just happened to be these enough cells for A through Z and 1 through 0. So now I make all these little molds. Here's the mold that makes. This is one of the few one-part molds that I actually use. And this isn't the full alphabet. This might be an abbreviated. Well, it might be the full alphabet too. No, I don't think it is. Well, I've done two.
I'll
or
let
three
our
of
viewers just decide. And yes,
I've
they
had to-
appear backwards in the mold.
Yeah. So yeah, I've had to abbreviate some things, and then some letters get used more than others. So what I do to make these letters is I mix a small amount of resin up, and then I pour it on, and then I take whatever, and I will like screed it off, and then it will make it level, and then I have a plunger, like a toilet plunger, that I put over it. So when you turn the air on in the pressure pot, this was another grand discovery, was when you turn the pressure pot on, if you don't put something on it, the resin will make one heck of a mess on the inside of the pot. So let's go over here.
Okay. We'll
So-
see one like that.
Yeah, so I went to the dollar store and I bought 4 plungers. I didn't take the handles. They're going like, why do you why do you just want that? So
Well, it's like one of the funner stories. Greg actually made a mold of these and did a resin plunger. And years ago, when I was painting my Chevelle, I'll post a picture on here so you can see it.
Oh, I
My
have it.
neighbors thought I was nuts, and I actually painted a plunger. You still have it?
I do have it.
Okay, if you still got it, I actually painted this plunger, and my neighbors thought I was nuts because they saw me painting.
Wait a minute, where is that plunger? I'm not sure where the plunger is.
Well, I definitely have photos of it, so
I have it around here somewhere. I was going to say, I think the mold is down here.
this is a big shop. He said it was 800 square feet. Got a TV, a few model kits across the ceiling here, and then more stuff and space. And sorry if I'm panning around quite a bit here, but here's more of his molds.
Of course, stuff falls. This may fall apart, I don't know. I haven't opened it up for some time. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Oh, there we go.
There's the mold.
So there's the plunger mold. And it's pretty much solid silicone. I could have done it differently.
Yeah, but this is pretty old because we did that 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, every bit of 10 years ago. It was crazy.
So yeah, I'll post photos of the one I painted when I was painting it. And yeah, my neighbors thought I was nuts.
Yeah, I'll have to find that. I know I've got it around here.
So looking over the desk, here's the air cleaner that I gave Marty, and he'll be casting. This is kind of like Martys Desk and area. So one of his truck bodies. And some of the Nova four-door.
It's a 4-door Nova.
That's like a, what, 75, 76?
78, I believe.
78? Okay.
Yeah.
They cast these and produce these. This is a long story with us. Eleanor convertible that I had mastered, and Greg was casting them for a while. And then some more of the truck parts. Matter of fact, Marty, he's pretty proud of these. Here's his extended cab trucks, interiors, and beds. I don't know if he counts these, so I'll take one of each and see if he notices them missing or not.
Okay.
Some more of the organization. And then some things you buy for donors. This is a die cast that donated some parts to be cast.
Yeah, that grill is up there somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe under the zipper box.
And some wheels. Got anything else that you're working on? Did you like to show us?
I have the master for the 4-door Le Mans doing the Verrier. I have a
So
mold
is this a kit that's going to be coming out soon?
yeah, at some point I've got only a couple of molds to make.
Okay.
I have to make the chassis mold and the interior tub mold, which are the worst parts to make.
Now nobody makes a kit like this, a 4-door Le Mans.
I think
Calling
some
on
guy
body style,
might
I
have-
believe?
Yeah, I think someone else has done something of it, but not to this. Not
Yeah,
as
so
nice
if you guys
as
don't
this.
see what a master looks like, this is one.
Yeah, this is the police car from the Burt Reynolds movie, which I can never think of the name of it.
Smoking the Bandit?
Yeah, Smoking
Okay.
the Bandit. I'm getting old, so I'm getting.
The one that the roof gets knocked off of.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Buford T. Justice,
Yeah.
Jackie Gleason.
We'll have to brush up on our movies.
Yeah,
We spend a little too much time playing with models.
right. Some bitches. So yeah, there's that.
So there's a future product to look out for. And there'll be a link in the description below to Greg's website and email address, or just email
Yeah,
address.
I also have a couple of these kits. I have made some of these, and I'm trying to be able to make a good bubble top for it again.
This is one of your favorite kits, right?
Yeah, I kind of like it because it's only been issued one time. So yeah, at beginning I had like 17 molds of it made. And that was a lot of parts. That was just about every part but a tire and the springs. It comes with the springs, you know, for the suspension.
Well, very cool. All right, Greg. Well, thank you for letting us come in and invade, and I really appreciate it.
You're all
And
very welcome.
he does a great job casting, and very passionate about it. So, anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, I'm known in this area as the master caster, so I've got a bit of a reputation, I guess.
You got a Facebook page now too, dedicated, and you call it Holy Grail.
Holy Grail Resin, yes.
Okay. You have a website too, or just the page for now?
Just the page for now.
Okay, so we can find you on there. I'll put a link in the description below for that, and then if you have a direct email address, I can put that in there as well.
Yeah, it's mastercaster1@cox.net.
Okay.
Yeah, mastercaster.com.
All right. That way I don't mess that up, or I hope I don't mess that up.
No, I already messed it up. I have to think too hard.
Yeah. Spelling? We don't spell.
Yeah, no.
We're dealing with resin and paint and fumes here.
Right.
So I appreciate letting us in and showing us around and showing what you do. And for those of you, I hope you guys enjoyed it. For me, it's kind of fun to show you this kind of stuff and share it on the channel. So thank you for subscribing and checking everything out and all of your comments. I really appreciate it. and I'll share any comments that come towards Greg. I can share them to you, but send your inquiries to his email and check out his page and see what he's got to offer. I'm not being paid to do this. This is just strictly fun for both of us.
Right.
So it's just another video for my channel here, but we're just enjoying it. We've been friends a long time, as you can see, and we'll show you some of that stuff. But I appreciate you following along, and I hope you enjoyed this video.
Yeah,
you guys,
hope you enjoyed what you saw. Thanks
Yeah.
for stopping in.
You guys have a good Saturday, and I'll see you next time.